was but the private topic of the discussions which we had so far, and what we'll be having during the remaining life of these discussions. As we speak about different waters, like the Second World War or the Cold War border, I think that in our case it's more relevant is the post-Karabakh border. It has more direct relevance to what's happening in the South Caucasus. And in that respect, since we are quite destined to speak in PowerPoints due to time constraints, divide the security dimension when we speak about the South Caucasus into two pillars, the outward pillar and inward pillar. If we start with outward pillar, the South Caucasus these days is just a slow reflection or small-scale reflection of the global rivalries. So we're dividing different powers into the region to advocate our national interests or to back up our national agenda, and which is probably inevitable, but on the other side it's also very precarious because the proxicizing the South Caucasus is speaking up, and what makes me to think loudly and to share my concerns with you, something which probably most of you have thought of, how much agency would be left to the South Caucasus. What the agency means is autonomy to decide on your own. And because we're bound to pay due respect and due attention to what's happening around us, but how limited it would be in decision making, or how much attention, how much tribute we will have to pay to the global rivalries, that the security dimension of the South Caucasus and its outward dimension. Then the inward dimension, which is very delicate point, which is very subtle point, especially from Georgia's perspective, since Georgia has been practicing during the Karabakh War and after the Karabakh War, the so-called equidistance policies. But in this reality, how we could achieve the appropriate equilibrium, and that appropriate equilibrium should exclude from any South Caucasus cohesion nation-dominated routes. So how that equilibrium should be accomplished. Someone would say, well, remember one of the concepts during the Cold War of the guaranteed destruction, гарантированное уничтожение, so much about building up military muscles. That's one way of deterrence. Another way of deterrence, since we're civilized people and we're not belonging to the global war party, the dominant conspiracy of Georgian domestic and foreign policies these days. So it's about deterrence through interconnectedness and interdependence. In that respect, of course, thinking about business ecosystem, and of course, the issue of the single market is very much appealing, but I think we're a bit far away from that path at this point. Working on common economic zones, previous speaker spoke about that, or thinking about interstate South Caucasian legal conflict entity. One is established on conflict entity, one in Armenia state, and then it is recognized in Georgia, vice versa, that could be fixed after what that can define the business rules. So this is about the security dimension in domestic dimension, in the regional domestic. So we all had about the concept which relates to, or should relate to Donald Trump's version 2.0, which is peace through strength, probably peace through commerce, peace through business, peace through economy, phenomenon. It could not be considered seriously, but even before the war in Iran has started, so he's joining here. So we once been discussing this concept, and it said that the second leg. So we have three plus three. We have 3 plus 2, but conceptually we have 3 plus 3. The second leg was without what was beginning, but was obsolete. So probably 3 plus would be more relevant because of those changing dynamics around us, having the core consolidation between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, and then looking into different directions based on specific agenda, on specific landscape, on specific configuration, why we should lock ourselves into Russia, Iran, or Turkey, when there are different other influences on the region, different other geopolitical influences. 2 last points I promised also at the last. I also very much welcome what Mr. Minasyan has said. Of course, in times of real politics, the value of politics became also a bit annoying and irritating, but on another side, as common nations, I would ask people to use not small nations, but in Georgia, but not small nations, but just common nations. So one of the most valuable business cards for conflict nations is being normal and being democratic. I hate this word for the last period of time, but that's unavoidable for us because that would be the best venue for us to position ourselves and would be our business card. To be normal, to be open-minded, to be democratic, to be inclusive, have politics based on the positive-sum game and not the vice versa. And the last point, when we speak about compact states such as Georgia and Armenia now building toward the real politics, I would also touch on for our discussions during the next gathering here in Armenia on Tbilisi, when we speak about the Georgia-Armenian cooperation about the so-called 3 C's. 1 C is about competitive, another 3 is about being competent, and I really mean it, and the last one is to be constructive. So I think those 3 C's should be something which we could be discussing, touching on, and bringing to decision makers and stakeholders in terms of increasing our future-driven identity in this very volatile and very unpredictable world. The world with water without water, or disordered water, and how we will be navigating. So we should be jumping, 10, 15 years from now on, and then looking at ourselves at the present moment, and that will be the best measure of our measurement for competitiveness. And one last sentence. When we speak about competitiveness, it's not about our relations with state actors. It's also about our relations with the non-state actors. We will be dealing with technology companies, information companies, etc. That is one of the keys for our competitiveness. So I'm done.
Thank you. We have spoken quite a lot already about external actors and their impact on the region. I would like to know Georgia's perspective on the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict and current negotiations, and also how Turkey-Azerbaijan relations with Georgia affect Georgia-Armenia relations. And I would like to address the questions to you, the aspects that you think are more relevant.
It's very hard to identify, because we very much welcome finalizing these negotiations with Armenia and Azerbaijan. That is not the responsible approach from Georgia. Let me be very honest with you to some extent, and since these are not the Chatham households, but still. When we speak about competitiveness of Georgia and different state. But it would be two words if they could, before 5 sentences if they could address the word because if they made. It depends what would be the end of the war. That's one point. I very much share the opinion that the First World War was an unfinished war, and it was an entry into the Second World War. So it very much depends what the end would be. If the end would not be comprehensive, all inclusive, and solid, then that would be an entry into the new war. That's something we should keep in mind. That's one point. The second point, it looks to me that as we see the great players, United States, Russia, and China, they're laying down the grounds for unity by bonds immigration. And that's something which we, Georgia and Armenia, should be very much cognizant of. The concept of sphere of influence is not known anywhere, and their backing would be back even more strongly. So on which side of the white line we will find ourselves, of course, it's a big question. And the last but not the least, which goes to the end of war in Ukraine, witnessing how much the foreign policy became a commodity, and how much transactionality is brought to the world politics. I would not be in rush with these players as they position themselves to witness an end of war in Ukraine, because I'm afraid that end would not be a solid end and would run an analogy with the First World War, which I already mentioned, an unfinished war, which led to the Second World War. So that would wait out, that would have to wait for more responsible players in the world politics, and then to speak about